Today, inside the program, where the democracy go look inside the population and housing census where statistics salon for do. And if we can talk more about that, make we get the director of communication at statistics salon, Samuel Ansumana. Good morning and welcome to the program. Good morning, Salon.
Thank you very much. Good morning, Fambo.
Well, statistics salon, we set them up through the 2002 Statistics Act, and we replaced the Central Statistics Office of 1964, and part of the mandate are for collect, compile, analyze, and disseminate high-quality data for development purposes. This BNTM Statistics Salon be pull word for say that they control the population and housing census. For talk more about this census and also activities that we don't happen at Statistics Salon, make we get the Director of Communication at Statistics Salon, Samuel Ansumana. Once more, good morning and welcome to the program. Good morning, Salon.
Thank you very much, Adeyemi.
From that background there, in a way of update, what so far don't they happen at Statistics Salon with regard to recent activities?
Thank you. So many things they happen. We get, by the way, Statistics Salon na the body established by law for collect, compile, analyze, disseminate official statistics. So we get several surveys where they go on, data collection activities where they go on. As we speak, we do the multiple indicator cluster survey. Mix 7, a survey where they deal with or look at the situation of women and children at the country. We do in partnership with UNICEF. Of course, we get funders, UN Women, they fund, World Bank, they fund as well. They contribute to the funds for the Mix 7. We also get the Salon integrated also survey SLEAS, whether in the living standard survey, the poverty and the measure poverty in the country. So that can happen every 5 years with the DWAM as well in partnership with the World Bank. That is very critical for World Bank. So that day as well they go on as we talk. We also get the impact assessment survey we they go on. We also get the 50 by 2030 agriculture survey where they go on. So we get plenty of other things and we really they happen now we as part of routine activities. We also do the consumer price index. Now we compute the consumer price index where they measure inflation at the country every year, every month rather. So that is as well ongoing as we talk. Yeah.
Let me look at the different surveys that we're do. One part of our mandate now for ensure say we're able to put data together with government to use for development purposes.
Correct.
Yep. You talk about different surveys that we don't not only do. You talk about the impact assessment survey. You talk about the agriculture survey. You talk about the consumer price index survey and other surveys. Then surveys they also not only do. Which impacts they don't create in the lives of Sierra Leoneans, especially when it comes to development purposes?
Okay, so make we start with the consumer price index. The consumer price index, as I say, they measure inflation of the country. They tell exactly how the situation economically look like. Okay, so the central bank, when at the Bank of Sierra Leone, actually depend on we for ensure say we partner with them. Well, actually we do and we work out all of the metrics with them. We do that computation in consonance with them every month, and then they're very critical for look at key economic indicators of the country. Come to the SLEAS, and I don't want to actually go into all the surveys one by one, but basically within data collection to do data collection. When you do data collection, you come out with the results, you do analysis, you get the report. What basically they do now that it help you for know the current status quo for whatever you do the data collection for. All right, it tell you the situation on the ground. So if you get for do policy intervention, you get for count ensure now say people then you want to actually alleviate the situation of people, then you need to know the benchmark, you need to know the basis, you understand, outside the situation they at that point in time. All right, so surveys they help you for make you get like the basis of the situation, how the situation look like, the current status quo.
Okay.
All right. Narande exactly all with data collection activities really they help you for do, and they're important. The academic institutions that they use them, researchers and they use them, policy makers, government, international partners within Canada, this country, the force data the way they want for look at. Oh, let me see this survey, this survey report, because they want to know how the situation look like before they do whatever intervention.
Let me continue to unpack the different type of surveys they do, and begin for what are the methodology put into different surveys. So, for instance, you take the first one you talk about whose kind of methodology are they using and how they're all different.
Okay, so data collection activities, basically they use sampling. All right, you sample for surveys and sample you get for sample. Let me call it a survey, not like a census. All right, a survey now a part of a whole. So you can do a sampling for actually able for know the amount of people or the representative of the people you want for target. So when you do that sampling, you're able to get the number of EAs or the number of clusters, as the case may be, where at the end of the day you go ask people. And so for example, for SLEAS, where they go on, we now actually do data collection or that the entire country, the same with mix. All right, we get clusters for mix, we get EAs for SLEAS. We actually identify based on when I get representative sample of the total population of the country based on population size and geography and dynamics as well. When we use now for actually do the sample, and then we send with people away to go do the data collection.
To what extent there are findings here so can be a actual reality in the ground?
So when you do data collection, you try your level best. Now questions you ask. All right, and so let's get this clear. Data collection, now questions you ask people, and you get responses. Not like a research, you get responses from the people. All right. What we can try for do now for encourage people to be as frank and honest as possible in giving their responses. All right, because say what you may. The final the responsibility for actually making people get correct information really lie on the information with the people in the queue.
It also right? Come back to our staff for them because
I can't towards
okay. Continue.
So it largely rests on the respondent. Okay, the answers, the feedback answers what they give you. Okay, now we staff them on one hand also get a responsibility because one, then say for ensure say then go to the place where they actually do the survey. They ask the questions as they na the questionnaire. All right, then take GPS coordinates of the area then for actually show say they go there. Then transmit that data there because all with data collection now what we do now via electronic means. Okay, now through tablets. All right, now well they call them copy computer assisted personal interview, not to paper anymore. So you transmit that data there to the server. So the staff self gets a responsibility for ensuring they transmit the data, and he actually go conduct the interviews. I make, as I say, if you not go you're supposed to go and go conduct the interview, we go no, because all the equipment there, all the tablet then get GPS coordinates. We go for tell you if you actually go there or not. And for most of the houses, then the application where they use that if they like between 10 to 15 feet to the house where you go count or where you go do the data collection for make actually the application open on your phone. So all that checks where we put in place for ensure say people then actually go and do the work at the end of the day. We also get monitors. For every survey, we get monitors. We say they go, we get coordinators and where they go for checks. Say the people actually they go who side they're supposed to go do the data.
Another again instance, when I send them people has to go out and bring them data also for inform government as to how they for carry out the development agenda of the country. When again instance, we say somebody perhaps staff sluggish and no one for go to the center or not the particular place on the center.
Well, it happen.
Come on.
Yeah, well, it happen. Particularly where I think we use PAPI, paper assisted personal interview. You know, so we happy that we don't move from that because something may happen like that. People in way not so they're not passionate about the job, then go just sit down at the comfort of their home and fill in the questionnaires and counter. All right, and it's very difficult for me to verify them. Okay, but we copy now. We're able to tell if you actually go there because you can take GPS coordinates. We're able to track real time who's you there. You understand? So now the good thing that but that situation, yes, in the past, you know, it may happen, and not just for statistics. I'm pretty sure for every other data collection with any other institution.
We can meet a lot of questions to the data and the police.
Of course. They say garbage in, garbage out. All right. If at the point of data collection you get it wrong, you don't get the correct inputs. At the end of the day, you know, actually go and talk to the actual people. Then it means that garbage you bring in. So the garbage you bring in, where they form the basis of the report, where the report they come out, will be garbage as well.
Let me look at the consumer price index survey we wanna do.
Data collection.
Data collection, okay. Wanna do, and this data collection they talk about price inflation now the country. Many people don't they look at the this data collection wanna do as one from the report when they present to government about the status of price inflation at the country, not simply to reflect the reality on the ground. So let me look how we can go about to forget then data collection of prices them in the country.
Okay, so we go to markets. We get markets across the country, designated markets across the country, and we people in the go and ask the prices of goods and services.
What are them people already go and ask the prices?
We get staffing. We get consumer price index staffing. We go to the market and then you roll down the bets, now you walk around it. Then they go to the respective markets and ask the prices of goods and services. Now we get goods and services within the basket, within the CPI basket. All right, about 400 get goods with it. Now then one and they would use. So then goods then they would go into the markets, respective markets, and ask the prices of them goods then they. Okay, so the previous price, the difference between the previous price and the current price now go from the basis of the inflation. Okay, the difference between for example, if you go this month and tell you say rest cup now 5,000. I just give an example of 5,000. Then you go next, then you go there after a month and say no, the rest don't move from 5,000 to 7,000. So the difference between the 5,000 and 7,000 are 2,000. That is only from the basis of the inflation. So if you go and then now say, okay, let's be 5,000, but you don't count down to 3,000, or you don't count down to 4,000. All right. So that 1,000 difference is only from the basis of the deflation, like the price they come down. Okay. So we get trusted people, and we don't just do this by ourselves. All right. We do them in consonance, say, with the central bank, the Bank of Sierra Leone, and the Ministry of Finance, for ensure that we get the figures in and everything correct. Okay, we actually go about the process correctly.
So as we talk now, what's now the current price in terms of actual information of the price inflation rate at the country?
So I can tell you, say, based on the last consumer price index will do, with inflation there about 12% in the country.
And you think say any difference don't take place?
Yeah, lots of difference
in terms of prices.
Yes, yes, lots of difference from last year. Inflation, inflation go as far as high as almost 50% in the country. We've been there in the 40s for a long time. For a long time, we've been there in the 40s. Now, a couple of months back, we begin count down 15%, 16%, 17, 16, 15. We don't count down to 13, 12%.
How the information you also want to get to government don't change in narrative, because when they go down there, you're talking about prices, things are still expensive. So how don't they change in narrative so far?
Okay, so make one thing very clear. We're not a policy interventionist.
But not the informed government.
Good. So what we do, we not data we provide. Now they we role stop as an institution. So we bring the data and make them available for government and other people for make policies. All right. When we bring the data, how they go about for do and how they not go about for do. Really, that buck they need to stop with we. You understand? The buck they stop with policies, policy makers, government, international partners, and all of that. All right. So not to like now we the win candidates and then we show okay now so we for do am now. Okay. That's what we actually do that. Going the target now a survey. We actually the try for benchmark we agricultural situation. You know how we look like. By the way, we suppose as a country we suppose for the do an agricultural census for know exactly what they're doing to farming, within the equipment, within the level of yield, within they produce, and all of that. But we not don't do an agriculture survey in this country for over 40 years. So the World Bank, you know, the Food and Agricultural Organization, and IFAD been given along this grant. We actually they use so 50 by 2030 like 50 countries where they try for improve on the agricultural you know situation by 2030 by year 2030, and that basically the 50 by 2030 means. So we don't implement them and we go and interview corporates as well as institutional farms, as well as some people also get household farms, you know, so they send we staff them there and they go try for you know gauge the situation. So that survey they actually ongoing, and one of the big inputs that we all know say one of the flagship of government in agriculture, which critical stakeholders, you know, the district councils, the mayors, the chairpersons, bike riders, keke riders, traders, market women, youth groups, several stakeholders who we engaged last week as part of the process. Make we just bring them come into the census process. Aside from that, we also form committees at the national level. Okay. So we don't form the publicity committee, when at the committee waiting for ensure say they actually make people they are aware about the census. We don't form the technical committee, with that committee day and day, and then committees are all things that you get for do by law as part of the census process. The technical committee are responsible for develop the instrument, the questionnaire, the manual thing, and all of that for the census, and the question they will for ask and all of that. They develop all and then the advisory committee, where now the highest decision making body of the census, then they drive resource mobilization as well as the advice on critical areas. And the advisory committee comprises of political parties, partners, then and all they're all there inside that committee there. So all the committees and they don't be formed. Also, we don't set up the census administrative structure, administrative mechanism. By the way, when we start the program, when I ask me about what we don't do as statistics say earlier. So when I go realize it with all the things and the way they go on, if we say we stop all and work in the day, just for can do census work, then go well. So the census na a project with devoid of the routine functioning of statistics earlier. So by law, you create the census administrative machinery where they run the census. Okay, so we don't create the secretariat when are they responsible for execute the census.
Okay.
Also, UNFPA don't bring a chief technical advisor for we. It came last year November. We already the sitting country now. We all done the work on the census process. So several other things that they will really don't they happen around the census. We also I want to use the opportunity for commend the government of Sierra Leone. Very recently they give us some money we actually don't use even the stakeholders engagement and information of the committees where we do now that money that we even use until they say before they do the advice technical committee meeting tomorrow they do advisory committee meeting. Now part of their money then they will use. So we want to tell the government of Sierra Leone thank you to the Ministry of Finance will provide the requisite resources for ensure say we go ahead and undertake the census process.
You talk about different activities with regard to the census, but according to information we understand that the 2025 census will happen don't be postponed to 2026. You did on air, you did on radio now. You can confirm or deny.
Correct. I think the minister we don't confirm that the minister actually unraveled that day last week Thursday to the media When I been getting a representative there as well, and I'm pretty sure when I carry that story there. So yes, the census don't be postponed to 2026 December.
At what point when I arrive at this postponement?
Okay, so in January this year, precisely January 13th to the 17th, we will get an international mission, an assessment mission where we can gauge the readiness of Statistics Sierra Leone and the country as a whole for conduct the population and housing census. So that mission they've been comprised of the U.S. Census Bureau, the United Nations Economic Commission for Africa, that is responsible for all censuses in Africa, and also United Nations Fund for Population Affairs (UNFPA) within New York. We also know the global body for population affairs globally, worldwide. Okay, so then do a 1 month, 1 week assessment of everything, with systems and processes, procurement, every other thing. We actually do mapping, all. At the end of the day, then say, okay, when our systems and processes, manpower and everything really they're up to standard, all right? But critical things and the way for be done for conduct a census, if we want for conduct a very credible and internationally benchmarked census, where they meet internationally comparable census, where they meet international standards. So if we want for go ahead and conduct a census, we go stand the test of time, then there are critical timelines we want to need for go back to and look at and see how we want to go readjust the census for fitting to the timeline in there. One, according to the UN principles and recommendations on the conduct of censuses, it say before you conduct any census, before you actually go to the enumeration, like the counting, you forget a 1 year gap, 1 year difference between the pilot census and the main census enumeration. What's in they mean that? The pilot census, that they test all the instrument there. You test communication, test the questionnaire, test everything for see say everything they work well. Test the tablet and all things for see say everything is working well. So then they say you forget a 1 year gap from the time you do that testing to the time you go do the actual counting. It will be 1 year. So January already we then come with a don't make that recommendation. They mean say we are out of that. We're not within that bracket. Also, we want the support of international partners because we want this census to be very, very internationally comparable. So then we say if we want their support, like material as well as financial support for actually go ahead and help with, they go bring our manpower, bring our machinery, support capacity, with capacity as an institution, also support with financially all of that. Then the need for factor themselves into the census process, where at that time with January they already don't do the plans for the year and Statistics Sierra Leone not be the part of them plans. And mind you, we only proclaimed the census in September last year. And we proclaim the census in September. We get on to the inform, they say the president don't proclaim the conduct of the census. All right. Now they say, okay, we will come to the country in January immediately. You know, September, October, November, December, January, they don't come. They say we will come and can look at the situation. They will go advise you now. So the postponement of the census is largely based on the international partners they advise you then. Give we?
Okay.
All right. And also the fact say we get for the procurement of other equipment, then tablets, then other things that they will need for be procured. We the timelines already.
We can't continue for talk about the reason them as to why we not decide for postpone the census. We don't talk about the census where you say I don't postpone them to sometime next year, 2026. And I'll ask you the reason, and I'll arrive at that one day. You say one get for do with the gap. Well, get for take 1 year from January to December. You know, go to 1 year we supposed for be. When I'm not be know that one day, but when I still put a time frame for census for December.
Okay, so now the president declare the conduct of a census, and make this very clear, just for the records. We know to justify the change of date, but the point why they try for making that at no point in time in this country we don't ever declare a census and we go exactly by that date or the way the president proclaim. It not ever happen. So like you instances, the 2004 population housing census been supposed to happen 2003. It not happen 2003. The 2015 population housing census for happen 2014. It not happen 2014 and 2015. 2021 for happen 2020. It not happen 2020 and 2021. So then are just instances in recent time. Now the reason that census na the most complex statistical undertaking na any partner in the world, a complex past any other statistical undertaking. And also think we just do I want for do and you out and corner. So you won't forget international comparability, and I don't know what they try to do. One of the accusations of the last census that you're not been too inclusive, you're not been this, you're not been that one. I rush process. So we deal with partners there on this. And if partners are advice, we say, okay, una go ahead, una do and this way, lo get and done this way, lo get and done this way. All right? We get for heed to that advice there. One thing we don't try to do for this particular census from the get-go na that everybody will have been dissenting voice for the last census. We don't try with level best for make them, for bring them come on board and make her as inclusive as possible. I can tell you, say sitting here, all the political parties and then get a major stake. Then get a very major stake. All right. They're so aligned on this census process. We they bring them even today, we they get the advisory committee meeting today, and all the political parties get to be present at Brookfield Hotel this morning. All right. So we be know, say we forget a 1 year gap between the pilot census and the main census and immigration, but then you still need people for come and vet that one day for you. All right.
This is not the same situation. You talk about two reasons. Let me take low unpack.
No. Those are just two reasons.
It's two of the reasons that we don't talk about at this studio. Right. Yeah. So you say one, and because of the gap, and also you say because of advice from development partners.
And the fact that we also need for procure equipment. Make I just
so somebody now they ask, because if you take on Facebook page for instance, we think different than this one. We want to eat to the advice. Okay, look, push onto this stem. But the last midterm and population housing census, we not been do that one day.
No, different than this. No. For sure, will not be eat to the advice. You're not correct. Well, we do the census will happen 2020, happen 2021. If not the date, if not date,
but people still advise. If opposition even raise concern.
No. Opposition raise concern no means that be an advice from the partners. Must be an advice from the partners.
So the voice of the opposition not counting then in the advice.
I know they say so. I'm saying you they say we eat to advise. We try for you to advise this one, but like the last one not eat to advise.
Which only concerns will come for the last one. We'll see what bank back out.
So make this clear, right? We don't want to delve on the past, but now make one thing very clear. The last census become very political along the line, because the understanding for the census and the reasons why they conduct them become misconstrued, particularly by the political parties. However, we don't move from that stage there. All right, everybody aligned, and we try to move forward. Okay, now we won't forget the census where everybody go acclaim, where we go get very. By the way, make I also make this clear: no census not really get 100% respondents, 100% people in country. I'll let you do the biggest sensitization drive. You try to be as inclusive as possible. You just get people then for every process. We're apathetic to the process. You get apathy in human beings. So man, from where he born, one day votes, then one day contact, one day involved in any civic activity. So you get them people in there. You will still not be able to get 100% of people. But then you want to get as many people as possible. You want the process to be as inclusive as possible. And that is what we're trying to do. Okay? Now, if partners are advice, we say, okay, we're not doing this way. Don't even left the advice. Even come to the procurement. May I talk quickly on the procurement? We go for procure tablets. For this census, we need in excess of 29 to 30,000 tablets for the census. The last time we lent tablets from Kenya. This is not going to be the same. We actually buy we own tablets thing. For buy tablet, now ICB, International Competitive Bidding, for even put out the advert, it will take you 28 days for put out the advert. We don't put out the adverts. You get for come for award that contract another 7 days.
So
right?
it go back to the question. Say, when I be know all this, but when I set a time frame.
Of course.
So is somebody go say or somebody go argue say when I not been doing homework well, we wanna set the time frame.
No, not so we not been doing homework well. We do homework very well. All right.
But still, okay, go on.
Yes, September, the president announced it will happen in December 2026. So if a lot of things that they will be supposed to happen, because we not been get partners there for Kite, we not been want to start the process without getting consultation with them. All right, they only come in January. Assume say they may come from the time the president announced the conduct of the census in September, right? Assume they may come in October. Then some say they say, okay, when I can probably see how I can able to do the pilot census in November or December, because mind you, there should be a 1 year gap. By the standard, 1 year gap between the pilot and the main census and immigration. All right. Now, the dates already don't conflict as a result of that day. So maybe we also understand this. Not to that kind of situation where like we don't want to get things just done by ourselves.
Okay.
We want to get things done in consultation with partners for ensuring we get things the right. We want to be as open as possible, as inclusive as possible, because this census now we own census. Now the people in Geta now community ownership we encourage. Now if we go around, we don't engage first. We don't get some initial engagement with the stakeholders. We don't form the district committees, and we not get for responsible at the district level for man the affairs of the census.
Okay, right? Let me look at the time frame of the census. You can agree with me? Say every census not 10 years, and from 2015 to now not 10 years.
Yeah.
Now we don't postpone the census to 2026.
Yeah.
In any way, this they affect the calendar.
You know, they affect the calendar. You know, I think I don't tell you. Say, I tell you, say, we don't ever get a situation where census exactly happen on the exact date we will happen, because census so complex. Situations can change along the line. All right, as you try for conduct the census, things that they will can happen where can can push you for make you actually change the date of the census. Not mean say you go affect the quality where you go get at the end of the day, but if you for change the date for get quality data, right, for make you get enough time for prepare yourself for get quality data, then we not see any reason for make we not do that day. Okay, that is exactly what we would try for do. Around exactly what they try for do for ensure say we get the census process correct.
Inside the program now, I think for me to start for read some of the text message where people don't send in the program so far. We're going on our Facebook page and take some of these comments. Then this one they come up from Mr. Ford. They say statistics salon officer. They say the statistics officer at the studio is not prudent answering the questions for the public to understand. Looking at the preparation to conduct the census, let him go and consult the head to know more.
This one from Tunde Scott say the fact that our international partners push for a new census few years after the flawed census data that's used to rig the 2023 election says a lot. Let be known that we as opposition will not accept what statistics did the last time to influence. Well, we get a lot of messages then, but because of time, we'll come over to the studio guests for response to their message and they say last.
Okay, so one thing we are going for saying that we try our level best to ensure so this census be as inclusive as possible. We get several major processes we need for happen before we able to conduct the census. So a lot of people can just think about the census on the day when it's already in the count, the main enumeration, where we get for do cartography, we get for do locality verification, we get for buy them tablet and day we provision and tablet and they then come, we buy applications and we actually we go use